Hello, and welcome back to Trailblazer MTG. My name is Paul, or Prop, and in this video I will be doing a quick preview of my deck that I have submitted and will be playing during the April Asynchronous Trailblazer League over on the Benjamin Wheeler Discord. So for those of you who watched my last set of videos, in the last Asynchronous League, I played a blue-white tempo deck revolving around flash and instant speed creatures and spells. So this time I decided to go somewhat in the other direction, and I will be playing Red Deck Wins, and I hope it does. So for anyone not familiar, this is a very aggressive, low to the ground red deck that wants to get cheap creatures on the board and just swing until your opponent's life total hits 0. It's cheap creatures, it's got pump spells, it has red base removal, it has some burn that can go to the dome, and it has a couple of top end finishes should we get into a later game situation where we are still able to try and close out. So let's quickly go through some of the key points of the deck. Now, as you can see, it's fairly creature heavy. It's not as creature heavy as you might expect, but we're really just looking for the highest value creatures that we can jam in to a deck that cost a number of red mana. So we'll see in our 1-drop slots, we have Heartfire Hero, a bane of multiple formats, including Standard and Pioneer. It gets bigger every time you target it with a spell or an ability, and when it dies, it's able to deal damage to the face, and you can get this guy fairly big fairly quickly. And if he dies, he's still going to have some reach. Classic Monastery Swiftspear, Soulscar Mage. A couple of more hateful pieces at 2 mana. We have the Ash Zealot, really good against graveyard synergy. The Cemetery Gatekeeper can be just exiles a card from a graveyard. This can be against. It can take out Uros, it can take out Croxes, but it can also, and if up against a land strategy, if you can exile a land from the graveyard, then every time your opponent plays a land, they're going to be taking two damage, and that can be really significant. We have some mana sinks, again, should the game go a little longer, with the Draconautics Engineer, the Earthshaker Kenra with the Eternalized cost, and the Kenra Spell Spear to be able to transform it, which on the backside, Trample Ward 2 and Double Prowess. Some of the newer cards we have the Flamecash Gecko, which has Pseudo Spectacle, which can allow you to double spell, but also if you can turn the life loss on, which you're hoping to do, you can just use it to loot, to rummage, and maybe draw into something else. Another hate piece with the Harsh Mentor. We have the Hexing Squelcher, which is another new card. Makes your stuff uncounterable, can't be countered itself, and really taxes life totals for any removal that your opponents might have. We also have Zhao the Moonslayer, doing a kind of an impression of Thalia with the non-basic lands entering tapped, and should it go long enough and you can get to 7 mana, he becomes a Blood Moon. So that is a really useful option. At the higher end, and I say higher end at the 3 mana slot, we have Bonecrusher Giant, which is also a 2 mana burn spell. Ferocidons, preventing life gain, and for anyone that wants to play a number of creatures, will really tax some life totals. Screaming Nemesis, probably one of the best cards in the deck. 3 mana, 3/3 haste, and should they have damage-based removal or need to block it, it can really punish along those lines. And then at the very top end of the deck, we have the Enduring Courage and Sunspine Links, another life gain preventer here, and just a creature that means any further creatures you have will be bigger and will have haste. Quickly mention the Planeswalker. We just have the one. We have 4-mana Chandra. She pluses to do 2 damage to an opponent or to get a burn spell or another creature on the board. She can just be a removal for -3, and if you're able to -3 her and protect her, she can really take the game over. You're not expecting to go far enough that the -7 is relevant, but should it be, it is a very powerful win the game kind of effect. Moving on to the instance, I'll come back to the sorceries shortly. We have pump spells, burn spells, pretty much across the board. We have a couple of modal dual face cards. This one is a damage spell. This is a fling. We have a couple of tech items with like Raise the Effigy, Dreadmore's Ire, which allows to destroy artifacts. Same with the Braid. One thing this deck doesn't really do is remove enchantments, which is tough, but that's the price you pay for playing mono red. A lot of these are either creature removal or direct damage options with some flexibility. Fire, collateral damage, both really good finishers. Infuriate and Turn Inside Out, really powerful. Along with Monstrous Rage, really powerful pump spells. So yeah, just looking to help the deck go as fast as possible. Coming back to the sorceries, similar. Creature removal, pump spells, Scorching Shot, which is really the only 5 damage option that we have for things like the Oculus or Shieldred. So this is one that needs to be kept as a premium against decks that have those higher levels of toughness should they get to the mid game. And one or two more card selection options like Light at the Stage, Opera Love Song, Borrowed Hostility, just to hopefully keep the tempo up once we've played a lot of the stuff in our hand. Artifacts, Ghost Vacuum, removal, could rebuy, can give you a lot of some 1/1s again if the game goes a little longer. Chainsaw, really good removal spell that is also a equipment that pumps your creatures, and this also a really strong creature in Commander Faces Carcassonne that comes down as an enchantment. If it comes down on 1, as long as you have as long as you have a creature on turn 2, that comes in bigger, and then when it flips, it is a 2/2 haste that really taxes any recursion, because it means that all of your damage-based removal exiles, which is huge. Moving on to the mana base, fairly simple mana base. We have Snow-Covered Mountains for Frostbite and the Faceless Haven Techland. We have a couple of fetch lands, a couple of surveil lands should we need them for later in the game. We have the Escape Tunnel, which can allow us to push damage even through blockers. We have Ramunap Runes for a bit of reach. And we have some creature lands, Crawling Barrens, Den of the Bugbear, Soulstone Sanctuary, and the Faceless Haven. As a little additional tech, I put in the Scavenger Grounds. Scavenger Grounds is really good graveyard hate, but also if that's not relevant for whatever reason in a matchup, and you have the Ramunap Ruins, you can actually get 2 different activations off the ruins because they are both deserts. Similar with the other way around, if the graveyard is really important, you can sacrifice the Ramunap Ruins to exile the graveyard while keeping a Scavenger Grounds up for a second graveyard exile, should you need it. We have 33 lands, 2 of which come in tapped, technically 3, up to 3 with the Den of the Bugbear, and then the modal dual-faced options, which do mostly come in tapped. Spiteful Hazards and Kizzle's Fury come in tapped. Shatterskull Smashing can come in untapped at the cost of 3 life, but it's also a really powerful sorcery that can clear the way. And that's the deck. It's a fairly simple deck. It doesn't mean it's the simplest to pilot. You aren't just blindly playing out everything in your hand every turn. You need to be mindful of wraths, of playing into removal, knowing when to spend your pump spells, when to get aggressive, and when to just take a step back and take the time to make sure that you're able to get there in the end. I think the decks that I will probably struggle the most against are the tempo-y decks, like the deck I played in the last league. Decks that can have cheap counterspells that can get rid of my creatures, or have the soft permission, like the quench effects, because I am fairly low on land count, so I'm going to be probably not. I won't have a surplus of mana to cast my spells, and then they can play their cheap threats, protect them, and get me to the later game where they will have an advantage. I think against a lot of mid-rangey or synergistic strategies, I am going to do fairly well, because I'm just going to put so much pressure on that there isn't going to be time for them to set up, and against heavy control also, I think I'm going to be able to just push enough damage early that it is going to make their decision making a lot harder and a lot give me a chance to just reach through for those final extra points of damage. I think the key adage for red deck wins is the same thing for a control matchup. A control deck is 1 is not 0. This deck where this deck will fall down is if I can get an opponent really low and then fail to find the ways to push those final point or two of damage before opponent stabilizes, potentially starts to gain life, and get back into the game. I think if a game goes beyond turn 5 or 6, unless opponent is really on the back foot, that's when things are going to turn around and become a problem. This deck can win on turn 3 or 4 with the right draws, the right pump spells, things like the Heartfire Hero, the Slick Shot Show Off, and a couple of the more powerful pump spells like Infuriate, Monstrous Rage, Turn Inside Out, and you're getting people incredibly low before they've had a chance to resolve almost any spell, which is what I'm hoping to do. This is going to be a very different energy than the last deck I played, and that's one of the reasons I picked it. Something very different to show, and I'm looking forward to the league. This league has more entrants than last time around. Last time the league had 16 players dropping to 14 after round 2, and in this league we are looking at we have an 18 players to start the league. So definitely more variety, but I think it should be a very fun league, and over the next, I believe, 4 weeks, you will be seeing videos of my matches. So with that short video this week, thank you for watching. Please like the video. If you are interested in keeping up with the league, please subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. The matches should be going up every Thursday. There may be a 1-week break depending on if any opponents want to hold back the matchup until later in the league, but all being well, next Thursday I will be back with my round 1 matchup, which I will also include a short deck of my opponent's deck in advance of that match. So until then, enjoy yourselves. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and have a wonderful day.